In today's video, we are going to be covering outpainting. And basically what outpainting is it lets us take an image like this ginger woman right here and add some space around it and then paint in that area. So the AI will kind of generate what it thinks would be around that image. So you can expand any image you have. And the whole process is going to be really similar to our previous inpainting workflow. You can see the latent space right there. And in fact, I'm even going to show you guys how you can include inpainting and outpaint at the same time. Because sometimes you will want to do that, especially when something's on the edges. When it's not on the edges, it's easier to just outpaint and then inpaint, or vice versa. However, we are going to be doing that with custom nodes, so that you can add outpainting and inpainting at the same time. And we're going to be doing it with both Flux and SDXL. We're going to start out with SDXL first, so let's hop right into it. So as usual, we are going to start with the default workflow that ComfyUI gives us, and I'm going to change the positive prompt to green and the negative prompt to red, and I'm going to save it as outpainting. And I'm actually going to change this over to JuggernautXL Inpaint because it is kind of important for outpainting that we use the right model. For inpainting, if you watched that video, I did say you can use pretty much any model. Outpainting, you're going to find, is a lot more finicky. And then we can just delete the empty latent image because we are going to need to bring in an image and outpaint it. So I'm going to go to Image, Load Image, and then we're going to add node, Image, and pad image for outpainting. And we connect that up, and I'm going to set it to pad 128 on each of these. And then before we connect it up over here, I want to show you guys what that looks like. So we are going to add a preview image and clone it because we're going to want two. And we're going to come over to mask and convert mask to image. That way we can also see what the latent mask is going to look like. And then we can see it's going to add space all around our image. And it's also going to give us a mask of the new area. So this mask is going to cover over this area. And then for our latent image, instead of using the Inpaint VAE encode for inpainting, this time we're going to come over to conditioning, Inpaint, and model Inpaint conditioning, because this will work a little bit different. But it works better for outpainting, because like I say, outpainting is going to be a lot more finicky than inpainting. And here I'm going to select pink rose, and we are going to pad this image. But something you might notice is this image actually added a little bit more space. Or actually, let me run it again so you can see it better with the rose. That is a little bit too big for SDXL. We're actually going to need to add a node, image, upscaling, and image scale to total pixels. And we are going to select Landco's. I like. You can pretty much use any of them though, because we are going to be going smaller. Then we're going to connect the image. And you might say, oh, the mask is going to be the wrong size now. That's okay. The mask will adjust to the image. We just need the image to be the right size so that our latent space will be the right size for our K-sampler. And then we connect this image to pixels and the mask to mask. Connect the VAE, and we're going to need to connect both our conditioning down here. And then connect them to our K-sampler and write the prompt we want. And then we can just set our latent image, and I'm going to fix this value just for our tutorial, and we're going to generate that image and see what we can get. And we can see it has really nicely added space all around our rows. So our image is now a little bigger. And when I say bigger, I mean it's like we've zoomed out a little bit. It is of course the same dimensions. We would actually need to do upscaling or a different process to make the resolution bigger, but a pretty good image. And then we can see what happens if we make this even a little bit bigger. So I've doubled the size of all the outside, which is going to mean we're inpainting a lot more area. And usually, when you're doing this, it's going to greatly increase the chance that you're going to have some sort of issue. So something I like to do with that is increase feathering, which means it's going to blend a little bit better around the seam of our old image and the newly generated area. So now that we set all of that, let's run it again. And we can see it generated once again, and it's a little bit even further out now. It's generating a lot more of the garden, but it generated really well. And then one last thing I want to show you guys before we move over to Flux is suppose we want to generate a little bit more space on this image. Sometimes, a lot of times with portraits especially, you're more interested in space below the image than you are above. For example, nothing really interesting is going to be above her head in this image, but here we kind of might get some arms or something interesting. So you would just take off the top and make the left and right a little bit smaller, and I am actually going to decrease feathering to like 50. And because I'm generating a person, it's a little bit more prone to error. I've found that decreasing the steps a little bit more, and mind you, I'm saying this for SDXL. For Flux, it's going to be a little bit different, but also changing to Euler Ancestral and our scheduler to Simple seems to give better results. So a little bit less steps and simple. And we can see it generated pretty good, but not that great because I didn't change the prompt. So we do need to remember to do that. But it still put a rose on her, and her hand is a little bit messed up. And a chunk of that could be coming from the original image. The fingers do already look a little bit weird. But I will get better results by changing this to a woman in an office. And there we go. Now we got a much better generation. However, we're still having very awful things happening with her hands. And unfortunately, that is not really an outpainting issue. That has to do more with the models. A lot of these older SDXL models, or I say older models, SDXL is an older model. Juggernaut is actually rather new, but they're going to be struggling with generating things like hands. So the best thing we can do is move over to Flux and see how the image looks there. So I came over to RunPod and made the exact same workflow, and I'll put a link to a tutorial in case you guys want to use RunPod as well. In this video, I just want to focus on the differences between Flux and SDXL, which is primarily going to be how we're loading it in. So again, this is the same workflow over here. We're just loading in the image, padding for outpainting and scaling, but we're going to need to delete the checkpoint and load in from advanced loaders, load diffusion model, and there we got to make sure it says Flux fill. And you do need to be using Flux fill dev. You can't just use a standard Flux. I'll put a link in the description to all these files, and I'll also put another video in case if you guys are using RunPod, because there are some little nuances to downloading the Flux models. And then we're going to need to come to advanced one more time, and then loaders and dual clip loader. And here we need to have clip L and T5XXL. And this one we can connect right now to clip and clip. And then we can just come to loaders and load VAE, and ae.safetensors is correct. And we want to connect that up. And our model, we can't connect it directly right now since we are using Flux, or we could, we wouldn't get the best results though. You want to come over to for testing and select differential diffusion, and this is going to modify a little bit how we're passing the model to our K-sampler so that it will work a little bit better for Flux. And then 20 steps is still okay. I am going to come to 1 CFG because that works a lot better for Flux. And a lot of Flux tutorials that you're going to look at online, they might suggest using this hewn model with DDIM as a sampler. I'm going to highly recommend you don't use that and just stick to Euler normal or Euler simple for outpainting. Just because for inpainting or outpainting, but especially outpainting, these simple samplers seem to give better results. But with that, we can run it and see what we get. And you may get this error, and this error is completely my fault. The reason for that, if you do get that error, is because you didn't change this from SDXL to Flux. So you want to make sure that when you're using your dual clip loader, you have the right type. If you recall before in like our Quen workflows, that did not matter. For Flux, it is extremely important that you do put Flux, or else it just won't run. And we can see it generated much better. Her hands still don't look perfect because it's still dealing with the fact that we're using a generated image that has some flaws in the hands. But it looks pretty good. In my opinion, Flux will always give you much better results than SDXL. And if you just want to outpaint images, this would be a great spot to stop the video and you'd be fine. However, I do want to show you guys how you can inpaint and outpaint at the same time because that's really useful. However, I will warn you, it does get a little bit complicated. So I would honestly recommend stopping the video and maybe trying this and then coming back to it. But if you're feeling up to it, I'm going to show you guys how we could add inpainting to this. And I'm going to show you why if we just add a mask, it won't work. Because you see, there's only one mask here. So we could use a mask and mask composite. And then we would need to switch this to add. Not and. Add. And I'm going to disable all of these nodes just so they don't get in the way. Bypass. So I'm going to draw a mask on her hands, which is what we would want to mask right here and right here. So you can see the two little dots. And now we're going to connect this mask as our source, destination, and then we're going to add another node to convert mask to image, and then of course preview image. And I'm going to run this really quick. It won't generate an actual image because I bypassed all of those nodes. But we can see our mask. And if you have done some inpainting, you can really quickly see the issue here. The hands have moved to the left. So it's like this is where our mask is going. And then the inpainting kind of pushed everything this way. So what you want to do is keep the mask centered even as you pad the image. And I found the best way to do this. There are of course other ways, but the way I like to do it to not add any custom nodes is we connect another one of these convert mask to image nodes to another pad image for outpainting. And then this is going to give us an image and a mask. And then here we're going to want to get convert image to mask. And then we're going to convert this image to a mask. And you don't actually need to do this, but I do want to clone this again so that you can see what's happening. And I'm going to bypass this, delete, and connect this mask here and this mask here. And then now that we run it again, you can see the hands are properly moved. So this process will scale the mask to the right location so long as this node matches this node exactly. So that is really important to keep in mind. But all we need to do now is we can delete one of these, and then we're going to take this mask composite and instead grab it from here and here. So we're going to composite those two images we just generated. And then I'm going to add this convert mask here just so that you can see what happens. Now it properly is adding the two images. So we get the latent space from the mask and we get the full outpainting. And then this mask up here we can now connect here. And this part we can leave the same because we do need the image being fed to this inpaint model conditioning. And then we can unbypass all of these nodes. And we can run again and her hands should be somewhat inpainted because this is a little bit faded. So it's still going to be loose, but it's going to give Flux a little bit more quote unquote artistic freedom to change her hands. And we can see it did get a little bit more freedom. She's no longer pointing her finger. It still didn't come out as good as I would have liked, which is likely because I didn't fully inpaint. If I had gone full inpaint, it would have come out a little better. So I'm actually going to do that really quick. Sometimes, depending on your settings in the masking, you may have to give it more than one pass. So that is important to remember when you're making masks inside of ComfyUI and not importing your masks from somewhere else. But there we go. Now we can see a much better generation. So it should be a lot of fun for you guys to experiment with. I'll definitely be going over a lot more kind of advanced topics in the future. I just wanted to start with standard image generation because it's important to start understanding latent space, K-samplers, and all of those ideas and concepts before we start moving into things like video or audio generation. The only one other thing I do want to add for outpainting is for Flux, you can go over 1 megapixel. Even 2 megapixels should generate fine. When you start getting into 3 or 4 megapixels, Flux can definitely generate, but sometimes your outpainting will become a little wonky. And also always remember with outpainting, sometimes less is more with steps. So you really want to try like both sides of the spectrum if you're struggling to generate one image. And always remember you can generate multiple seeds. Sometimes you need to pull the slot machine lever a few times to get a good image, as they say. Well, hopefully that'll be helpful for someone out there. Having a lot of fun making these videos for you guys. Please let me know if you have any confusion regarding outpainting, and let me know if there's any ComfyUI topics in particular that you would want me to cover. Because really, there's video, audio, face transfer, consistent characters. There's so much content in ComfyUI. I do want to cover it all, but if there's something that would be more helpful for you guys in the nearer time frame, I would love to cover that first. And as always, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.